executive search and confidential jobs. So let me start, Patrick, I want to start with you. What is executive search?
Good question, Claire. So I'll try to sort it out. When you look at Wikipedia, executive search, informally called headhunting, is a specialized recruiting service which organizations pay to seek out and recruit highly qualified candidates for senior level and executive jobs across the public and private sectors. However, there are big differences between the firms within this space. One is the geographic reach. You find either global firms or more local firms. Another difference is the offerings. Some are specialized in only executive search, and some firms are more broad in what they can provide. And then the third big difference is the payment structure. So it's either retained search or contingent search. And retained means that the client pays a retainer, normally in 3 installments, during the search process. And then there is a pickup in the end, dependent on the compensation package. Or if it is a contingent firm charging a contingent fee, then it's success fee based. So those are the main differences. And a trend we see also is that there are more and more firms that are in-house in a company. So that's also a sort of executive search taking place more and more.
Thank you, Patrick, for that. And just as a reminder to the audience, you do, through BlueSteps, have access to our members directory. And all the members of AESC work on an exclusive and a retained basis. So please, look at that whenever you are exploring who should you be working with when it comes to executive search firms. And so they always treat your information in line with GDPR or any other data privacy that is out there, and also cybersecurity when it comes to that. So, Magda, let me ask you a little question. What are some of the common misconceptions about executive search?
Yes, all right. Thank you, Claire, and thank you for clarifying that we all belonging to the to your association, which makes us really working on a most ethical sort of a way. And I think that would be great for everybody who is attending today webinar to look at their Bill of Rights of candidates, which is stated on your page, because this is something which you should be familiar to on your side as a candidate. The most important misconception, which actually starts the sort of other problems and some other disappointments which you as a candidate might experience when contacting executive search consultants, is that we are actually B2B business. We are servicing our clients. We are business to business. So we are not B2C, and the candidates in our area is treated as a C. So we are actually working for those companies who are hiring us, and they are giving us mandate to work on the particular assignment. And they are expecting us to bring them within that process, why they are hiring us, the very well tailored and well-prepared candidates. That is why we are very often, we are not responding to the candidates who are contacting us in a satisfactory way, which you might be disappointed, but we really are working for the client, which doesn't mean that we don't want to help the candidates and have a contact with candidates and collect the CVs of the candidates and work with the candidates who are contacting us. But let's see it from the eyes of a client. The client wants actually, and that's why he's hiring executive search consultant, being named headhunter, that this hunter, which we don't really like because we would rather be perceived like a trusted advisor rather than a hunter. But on the other hand, we are going on the market and we're looking for most successful people in the roles within the area of competitors. That's why sometimes, most of the time, I would even say 80% of the time, the candidates who are contacting us might not fit into the processes we are currently conducting. So I think that's the most important misconception we are experiencing since ever, and I think it doesn't matter if it's Europe, it's North America, or it's some other part of the globe. It's all the same.
Well, thank you very much. So just, to clarify that, we are working for the client and we are sourcing the best candidates for that. I know I'm getting a lot of questions coming in. I encourage you all to do that. We are going to probably get to most of these questions as we come through. And I know some of you are sort of asking about, what should I do when I reach out first to meet an executive search firm? So Bill, if I can just come to you, like, what should candidates consider before reaching out to a search consultant?
It's important to pick the right partner. So almost any search firm is going to have a very good website that's going to highlight exactly what they do. And we're not going to be all things to all people. So if somebody who's in a relevant industry and at a relevant level doing relevant jobs reaches out to me, whether I have an open role or not, I'll call them back. I'll send them a note. We'll schedule a time, because my business is predicated on having great relationships. And if somebody's good at what they do, I want to know who that person is. By the same token, we get a lot of resumes for people who clearly haven't done any homework, and they're reaching out to me as a life science and industrial expert, and they've been in the insurance industry their whole career. I can't really help that person, so I'm not going to respond to that person. So taking the time to be sure you're reaching out to the right partners. We all tell you on our websites what we do, what our specialties are. I think another key point is you don't need to reach out to 10 people in the same firm. We have a database. We share information very liberally. So if you reach out to one, you've probably, they'll route it to the right person to talk to you, and we'll do our best to help you.
Thank you for that, Bill. And just to clarify, when we say that, we work for the client, we do want candidates to reach out to us. We just want the candidates to understand that it might not be for that search, that you might be the right person. And right. We always put your resumes on file. Of course, we will get permission from that, but just to look at that. And another point, Bill, that you tipped on is that we do in BlueSteps, if you look at, there is a directory and there is fields that you can filter by. So we are seeing questions like, how do I find the search consultant that looks after CIOs? Well, if you go in there, you can actually filter, you can put the country, you can look through, and then you'll get the consultants that they are. But like as Bill mentioned, don't send it to 10 consultants in the same office, because actually they all talk together to that. But Patrick, I'd love to hear, from the European side, what do you believe candidates should consider?
I agree with what you have said, and I think all of us here receive a lot of emails with approaches, and yes, it is positive that we get a lot of these. But the most relevant ones are the ones who are in the same sector as I work in, and the same geographic area, and also the right level. So I think the homework that needs to be done is really where is each respective search consultant active, what level of the hierarchy, what sector, and what geography. So that's I can only agree on the homework. That you can see it on the web, but also when you are in interviews with other search firms, ask them who do you think are the most relevant consultants I should reach out to?
Thank you very much. And Masha, do you have anything else that you'd like to add on to that?
No, I think that was very well said. I'm okay.
Okay, if I just want to stay with you for a moment, you know, there's lots of questions about, you know, we don't see jobs advertised on job boards, and maybe you can just share a little bit about with us why are executive job searches typically confidential in nature?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, this is we have to remember that we are ambassador of the client and of the candidate at the same time, and we should be confidential on both sides. When the executive search company has actually the right partnership with the client asking for fulfilling the position,
I believe that we've just lost Maja there for a moment on sound. So let me just ask actually, Patrick, if you would like to, is there anything, you know, if you can talk a little bit about typically confidential searches in nature?
Most of my searches are not confidential, actually, meaning that I can talk about them without asking the candidate to sign an NDA. But we have several that also are confidential. And in that case, it is either because a reorganization will happen within an organization that is not rolled out yet, or it could be also that the incumbent needs for some reason to leave his or her position, and that is not known yet within the company. So I would say that one search out of 4 in general is confidential.
And Maja, if you like,
I'm back. Yeah. I am back. All right, I'm sorry. I was just telling that we are ambassador of the client and of the candidate within a process, and we do have to be very strictly confidential because most of the time we're talking to candidates who are actually having very successful role, and they don't really want to have that to be well known within anybody that he's maybe thinking about changing it. But on the other hand, to be really a trusted partner of the client is revealing us highly sensitive information about the culture, about the reasons why is this position being filled, and we really, as an ethical search consultant, must be at our utmost confidentiality there, just to provide, on one hand, necessary information to a candidate so he really knows the context, so he really knows why is he and where will he be joining if, and on the other hand, we want the candidate to be very secure, because as you know, very often just from a short list one person is hired. So confidentiality is our second skin, I would say, because we have to be very, very sensitive about any information we're getting from both sides. And yeah, so I think that's the most important thing.
Hey, but thank you very much for that. Let's now look, there's lots of questions coming in about how do we network with you, etc. So I want to move on to the next section, which is before building your executive search network.